Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today, as I promised, we are doing a Wormmon based Imperialdramon deck for BT16. I feel like this is got great potential to be just as good as the Vmon base because we're using a lot of the same cards. We're just doing a little bit different of an overall strategy, but still very, very effective. Let's go ahead and jump into this. All right, as always, I have the whole deck profile pulled up for you guys so you can follow along, see what we're doing here in the overall strategy of what we're kind of working with to achieve. A couple things in here are take it or leave it sort of cards towards the end here specifically, as well as you can always change up your ratios a little bit to kind of match your preferences, your play styles. We do only have 12 of our rookies in here on this one instead of the normal 14 that I run, and I feel like that can be gotten away with pretty easily because of like our inheritables here, so we can hard play some of these other guys and still get our Evo effect. Also, with the 4 of the Tamer, you're going to promote up at a raising area as well as play one for free, so then you're going to have 2 rookies or a level 4 and a rookie, then you can just Evo and be good to go. So it's just kind of overall, just kind of whatever you prefer. So yeah, let's go ahead and do this card by card here. So first up, Minomon. So we specifically need a Minomon, because of the new Wormmon here, only Evos on top of blue or red, but it Evos, or for 1 cost, but it Evos on Minomon for 0. So preferably would prefer a Minomon baby, and this new one out of BT16 is actually super good. So all turns, what's certain when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, if this Digimon has 2 or more colors, gain 1 memory. So really, really nice, especially for a like a Stingmon, Wormmon sort of build, because, you know, they do the piercing and they gain a lot of memory back through other things, like suspend things. They like to swing over your opponent's bodies, so this new Minomon actually really great for the strategy. We're still running the BT12 Wormmon in here, just like we are in the normal Vmon build. It's just one of the best searchers in the deck here. So it's a reveal 3, add a Imperial or free trait Digimon and a Tamer with Kin in the name. So our duo Tamer fits the bill for this one. And then it has that very, very much desired inheritable of end of your turn. You can DNA with 2 of your targets. So that's super important for the deck. And then we're running the, this is the movie promo Wormmon here. Super similar effect. It's a reveal 3 and a green or blue with 2 or more colors. So not quite as unrestrictive because it does have to be 2 or more colors and 1 Tamer with Kin. So again, we can grab our 2 Tamer, and it has that same inheritable of end of your turn. You can DNA. It's not quite as good because you will miss on your Stingmons and your XVmon searches. So, but we did kind of mitigate that a little bit with a new include in this version. And then we have the new BT16 Wormmon is start of your main phase or on play. If it's your turn, one of your Digimon may Digivolve into a level 4 Digimon card with the Insectoid or free trait in your trash for the Digivolution cost by 1. So this is really, really nice. It's similar to the movie promo Vmon, where it reduces the Evo cost by 1 of 1 card in hand. But this is Evo from trash. So you get that recycle, which is really strong here. So kind of the purple coming in a little bit on that. But yeah, good mid to late game card for sure. A great one to play off of your duo Tamer here because you're going to trigger that on play immediately. So that's really nice. And then the inheritable is why I really like it the most, though, is because when attacking once per turn, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. We attack multiple times in this deck, so guaranteeing that we're getting, you know, that suspension effect, and there's no restriction on what this can target. Since some of our stuff, when it goes to suspend, we might not be able to get to suspend everything because there might be a restriction. Your opponent might still have sources underneath. It might be too high level or you know, whatever the case may be. So this is when attacking, just suspend something, whatever's left. And it's also important because make sure you do your order of operations correctly. So use this first to suspend something, and then something like the new Imperialdramon, then you activate its when attacking, which is if there isn't a if all your opponent's Digimon are suspended, then you can unsuspend. So you want to trigger this one first to guarantee that you're going to get your unsuspend. So really good in combination, like with the Imperialdramon. Next, for our level 4s, we're rocking 4 of the new BT12X VMons. It's pretty much general consensus across the board, I feel like. There's a couple fewer outliers, but basically the BT12 level 4s are definitely the way to go here, because when you DNA, you gain that 1 memory back, essentially making them 1 Evo cost level 4s when in conjunction with evoing on a rookie. And because our duo tamer plays out rookies for free, you're pretty much always evoing into your level 4s. You're not really hard playing the Stingmon all that much. Even this Stingmon, I find myself evoing it way more than I do actually playing it. So yeah, instead of playing it for 3 costs by having a blue, then we're just evoing it. One, we get a draw out of it, and then we're still going to be able to DNA. So 1 less memory, get a draw, plenty of good stuff here. And then of course we have our when attacking draw 1, which you got to be really careful for. One of the things I like about the Wormmon build is we don't have any inheritables that force us to draw, except for this Stingmon, because Mirage is still being played super heavily right now. And if you played against Mirage, you know how detrimental that can be when you attack and you draw mid-attack, and then your opponent gains all that memory because of their Mirage. So kind of staying off of that little mechanic is actually kind of nice. So just a 2 of here to help complete our set. In our last level 4, we got the Toga Magumon. I love this card. It's so good, especially in this deck. So it evos for 2 on top of Wormmons, so that was a great reason to include it into the deck, at least for me, as well as like our movie promo Searcher Wormmon only adds duo colors, so this is a great target for him. It is a blocker with Armor Purge, level 4. And then all turns once per turn, when opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, trash the top Digivolution card of one of their Digimon. It doesn't have to be the one that attacked. It can be any of them. Trash the top Digivolution card. Then one of their Digimon with no Digivolution cards can't attack or block until the end of their turn. That nice little, which is also not restricted to what you target. So literally all parts of this can be 3 different Digimon that you affect off of all these skills, which is really cool. Not being super restrictive in how you activate it. But where this comes up the best is something like, because this is all turns, so it takes precedence over when attacking effects, anything like that. So the moment the opponent's Digimon becomes suspended, trash. This is great against Magna X, because as soon as they become suspended, you trash the Magnamon underneath it, and then they can't trigger their when Digivolving. So even if they check a security, their all turns effects kicks in, says activate their when Digivolving. Their when Digivolving specifically says if you have Magnamon or on armor form in the source, you get to trigger that ability. But if you're stripping the top source, there's not going to be a source to actually trigger it. So it works out perfectly as a hard counter to that deck. The only way they're going to be basically able to do it is like if they blinding ray before they attack, of course. But in that case, they're trashing the security, so you might not feel too bad about that. Also, it is a blocker, so even though his all turns is once per turn, if they have 2 Magnamons, you strip the source of one and then you block the other, right? The one that's in the middle of attacking, you just go ahead and block that one, but strip the source of the other. So then you're going to make sure that neither of them will get their protection effects this turn. So really, really powerful guy here. Like in Wormmon, you could almost argue running him at a 4 of. Literally, you could drop this Stingmon here entirely in favor of running 4 of him. I think it's like literally that good. All right, jumping into our level 4s, we're still rocking 4 of the new Imperialdramon. It's by far like one of the best cards to come out for this deck in a long time. Partition is incredible. When you would leave the field other than by battle or one of your own effects, you can spit out your 2 level 4s. So good. Oh god, this card is just incredible. Even if it's DP minus, right, which is really, really prevalent with like the Heaven's Judgment, you can use your partition on DP minus, which is a game mechanic. So the fact that you can do it on that, whereas a lot of other effects, they don't have any sort of DP protection, but this actually does work against DP reduction to spit out your level 4. So really strong, just that alone. Main effect and as an inheritable, so you don't risk losing it. When Digivolving, suspend all your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer Digivolution cards as this Digimon. You think baby, rookie, level 4, and then either another level 4 or a rookie with a level 4. So that's 4 to 5 sources. For the most part, you're suspending your opponent's whole board with this. Like, I don't think there's ever been a time where I didn't suspend my opponent's whole board whenever I evoed into this. Then if DNA Digivolving, none of their Digimon can unsuspend until the end of their turn. That's a blanket effect, people. So when you do this, say you're playing against Mirage, and they say they promote up this turn, and they go full combo, and they go to swing, and they go to unsuspend, say they clear the Pyldra. They clear it off the field. They still can't unsuspend. None of their stuff can unsuspend. This actually came up in the regional. They totally just played in this, went to unsuspend, and then they couldn't. Like they cleared the Pyldramon, but that didn't matter. They still couldn't do anything with their turn. So that's super good. When attacking, once per turn, suspend one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon. If this effect didn't suspend, unsuspend this Digimon, which we already talked about. His own when Digivolving is great, but in the crazy circumstances where you can't, just trigger the new Wormmon to suspend, and then you can unsuspend yourself. So really strong all around. Incredible card. Like this deck, man, we're hitting so many decks with this. Like the armor hits Magnamon. This does pretty well against Nume because it suspends their whole board, right? And then none of them can unsuspend during their turn. It does really well against Mirage because it keeps a Mirage from popping off. This Pyldramon is like, you hit this off of a search, you grab it like almost 10 out of 10, really. Like I want to say 9 out of 10, but it feels like 10 out of 10. For our backup level 5s, though, I'm actually rocking the Dinobemon because I really like this in conjunction with the Wormmon, because when Digivolving, if DNA Digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and this Digimon gets 3,000 DP for the turn, then this Digimon may attack an opponent's Digimon, which is really nice. So, you can get to a pretty, reasonable 11,000 DP with this guy, and then you can immediately swing over a body. You've got, most of the time you're piercing from your BT12 Stingmon, so really nice in conjunction with that. Also, inheritable when one of your Digimon with Imperialdramon in its name, or the free trait deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle, trash the top card of your opponent's security stack. With this deck being super control heavy, like we're suspending our opponent's board, like with the Wormmon, so you're going to attack, unsuspend, attack again, so you're getting your piercing off, as well as you're getting a trash security effect. This Dinobemon really, really fits in with the overall strategy of we're going to attack multiple times, and we're going to suspend our opponent's stuff to help guarantee that we're always going to trigger that. So even if they only have one target, it's unsuspended. We're going to use our first swing to swing into security. We're going to use the Wormmon to suspend. We're going to unsuspend, like if it's fighter mode ace, right, for example. We're going to swing again. We're going to get the piercing, and we're going to get the trash security. So essentially going to get 2 checks out of this Dinobemon here with this strategy. And then I'm still running the starter deck 9 Pyldra. This card is just stupid good still. It's maybe not quite as good as the other ones, especially not the new Pyldra, but still super solid. You always get your unsuspend with this guy, so you always get your 2 attacks. Like there's no stipulation, which I really like. And then when Digivolving, when DNA Digivolving, bottom deck is 6,000 DP or less. Really good against something like Nume, because then you're not deleting their stuff, right? So then like if their Nume X is underneath it, you just it just goes to trash and they don't get to actually trigger it. So getting this just bottom deck effect is just really, really solid. Really good against like armors, something like this guy, right? It dodges him. You just bottom deck your opponent's armors as long as they're 6,000 DP or less. Doesn't really work against Magnamon because their base is 7, but still good. We're rocking the new Dragon mode. I've tried to convince myself to try out the BT12, which was my initial plan for this set, and I just can't do it. The amount of setup that you need with that in conjunction with that BT12 Davis, it's just, there's too much setup involved, where this is just too good. just generically too good. So when digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend until the end of the turn. Then by suspending one of their Digimon or Tamers, unsuspend one of your Digimon. So really nice to swing twice with your level 5s and go into this guy, unsuspend again. And then all turns, when an effect plays or digivolves an opponent's Digimon, if you have a Tamer, this Digimon may digivolve into fighter mode in hand without paying the cost. This is just crazy good. This is a hard counter to aces, so you go to swing with this guy and your opponent tries to ace you, then you can use your all turns effects to immediately go into an ace of your own, or a fighter mode for that. It basically turns all your fighter modes into aces for this effect specifically, which is so useful against a Mirage, right? They're trying to use their training cards to Evo. This triggers off the training cards. They try to ace you. This card triggers off of aces. They're trying to play bodies, right? A Nume. This triggers off of a lot of Nume effects. In the mirror match, they try to partition you. So yeah, when someone's trying to play, bodies, stuff like that, against like Magnamon, they're trying to use the Royal Knights Magnamon to play a Vmon off of that effect, then they're going to trigger this as well. So really hits a lot of cards. Great card. Like this new Dragon mode is phenomenal for the format. Now for our fighter modes of choice, originally I had 3 of just the ace and calling it good, but am gonna work in the old, what is this, BT12 fighter mode as well, because of the Dragon mode basically turning this guy into an ace in the certain circumstances. I do like him in that sort of context. So when digivolving, suspend all your opponent's Digimon with no Digivolution cards, then return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the owner's hand. And that second part doesn't have to be one of the ones you suspended. So if it was already suspended, you can still get that bounce effect, which is cool. By returning one Dragon mode from the Digimon's Digivolution card to its owner's hands, place all of your opponent's suspended Digimon at the bottom of their owner's deck instead. Like, holy cow. Big blanket board wipe that you could basically do for free off of, your Dragon mode. That's insane. So against something like, again, Nume, where they like to, get a whole bunch of bodies on field, really hit that deck hard with this one. And then all turns, this Digimon gets 1000 DP for each color in its Digivolution cards, which is basically always going to be 2. So it's going to be at 15k, which is going to be enough to at least match your opponent's Magnamons. You can also adapt this into your Vmon builds, where you might have like the 1k buff off the Demi Vmon, and then you're always going to be 16k, so then you can actually always get over it. And then it gains security attack +1 and blocker, so you're still going to get 2 checks. You're not attacking twice with this guy, but you are still getting your 2 security checks, as well as you're going to get blocker, which is more than anyone else in this deck can do. So for defensive wise, also pretty good. But then you also have your fighter mode ace, which in itself is also a defensive card, because when your opponent attacks, of course, you can blast Evo. And then so on player, when digivolving, return one of your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer Digivolution cards as this Digimon to the bottom of the deck, which we already discussed. In this deck, aside from the mirror match, you will pretty much always have more sources than your opponent's Digimon, like every single time. The only time you don't is literally specifically like the mirror match. So you're always going to bounce something. When they're attacking, bounce. When they're evoing by effect and you got Dragon mode, evo. Like, blast evo. So you're almost always going into this guy for free. Save this guy in hand, though. Don't just shotgun him out like, I want an extra attack. So end of turn, once per turn, unsuspend this Digimon. You're like, cool. Like, I can just get 2 attacks every single turn with this guy. Awesome. He's so much better used as a defensive tech. Just keep your Dragon mode on field, right? If they try to swing over your Dragon mode, sure, you can blast Evo. That's still using this card defensively, which you can totally do. But don't use this card as I can get 2 attacks out of it every turn. Don't look at it like that. Unless you're literally going to be able to go for game, save it for defense. Then if Imperialdramon Dragon mode is in this Digimon's Digivolution card, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Also really nice, right? So every time you attack, you can bottom deck something. is also really useful. But again, you're not using it for that extra swing. You're using it to clear bodies off a field. So save it for those situations. All right, we've talked about the Duo Tamer several times, but start of your main phase, you can play a Vmon or Wormmon from your hand without paying the cost. At the end of your opponent's turn, it bounces to hand, which actually isn't it's actually kind of good because you could just play it for free again off of this effect. So if it's like a searcher, you can just get that value a second time. But usually when you DNA, that's what you're going to use it for, is it's going to disappear anyway, and the new stack won't have this restriction on it, so you're not going to bounce your stack that you DNA'd into or anything crazy like that. Your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a blue or green Digimon, by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. Also always super solid. If DNA digivolving, trash any 3 Digivolution cards under your opponent's Digimon. Any 3 you want. You can pick 3 different Digimon and trash very specific inheritables underneath, which is really good. In the mirror match, you want to hit that partition. That's always a good one. Hit those level 4s that are also, you know, kind of problematic. Maybe the jamming or the piercing, or maybe the 1k buff, you know, whatever the case is. I love being able to just pick exactly what I want. Nume X, get out of here. Like, I don't want to deal with you. Super good card. Like, I was running it at just a 3 of, but this card is so good. And you also, like, to turn your dragon modes on, you need a tamer on field. You want to get this guy. If you can play this out turn 1, you're good, right? Even if you give your opponent 4 memory, this card is still probably worth playing turn 1. Because you're off to the races on turn 2, like instantly going to be in a great position. If your opponent puts you to 1 and all you have is a rookie in raising and you have this on field, promote up Evo into you know, one of your level 4s here that, you know, gains you memory back. Well, you play your rookie, of course, off of these guys. Evo for 2. Normally pass turn. Go ahead and suspend these. Bring yourself back to 0. And then Evo your other one into the other level 4 from BT12 for 2 memory. And then use your inheritable to DNA and get 2 memory back. You're at 0 memory. You're in a level 5 on turn 2, just ready to pop off. Evo into like a dragon mode to pass turn then after you get your attacks off with your level 5s. Just literally turn 1, play this guy and a rookie in raising area. Turn 2, you can like literally combo off. So stupid good. I did have 2 of these Davises in here. They're still just really solid, right? He's a great searcher. He's a memory setter for us. We can't hit him off of our searches, which is a bit of a bummer because that's kind of restricted to Vmon's thing, but he's still super good for the deck. So I just could not bring myself to cut him. I almost debated putting in the BT12 Davis because it works really good in conjunction with his Dino Beamon, but I hate that setup. It just takes so much effort to like make to get good value out of it. Whereas this Davis is just always going to give you value. So, and it's not like I could hit that other one off of a search effect anyways. So here we are. I'm working, so instead of Hammer Spark in this build, I'm leaning more into the Invincible Dragon Insect Fusion. So it's 3 costs to play an XVmon or Stingmon. Typically, you're going to want to play your 4 cost guys off of this. So instantly, you're already saving yourself 1 memory. So boom, that's almost the equivalent of a Hammer Spark in itself. Without paying the cost, then 2 of your Digimon may DNA Digivolve into a Digimon card in your hand until the end of your opponent's turn. This the Digimon this effect can't be deleted by battle and gains blocker. So there was plenty of situations whenever I played the Vmon build where I couldn't always DNA, like I might be missing the inheritable, or I couldn't quite get the memory to work out just right to be able to do what I needed to do. This card basically just overrides that. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to give you the other piece that you need, and you're going to be good, and you're going to like it, and we're going to get that DNA for you, all good. So just getting that guaranteed DNA, really solid, and gives you a blocker, right? So can't argue that. Security, you may play a Vmon or Wormmon from your hand or trash without paying the cost, then add this card to hand, so you don't even lose it if it ends up in security, which is really great. Now, for our removal options, I was originally just running 2 Megadeth, right? Suspend 1 of Digimon, then return 1 of your opponent's suspended to the hand. 5 play cost. Can't go wrong with 5 play cost removal, right? But the return to hand is such a bummer. Giga Death, though, 4 more memory, suspend 1, then place up to 10 of your opponents suspended at the bottom of their owner's deck. Even if you're still just bottom decking one thing with this, the fact that it's bottom decking it instead of bouncing the hand, I think is just so worth it. And how many times have you done a Mega Death? And it's like, okay, that thing's already suspended. It just attacked. It hit this card in security, so I'm going to suspend this other thing, right? So it can't attack me. But then I'm going to go ahead and bounce this other thing back to hand. Whereas, of course, Giga Death security effect works differently, but you still get the same idea, right? I'm going to suspend, that thing's already suspended. I want to bounce that thing, but I'm going to go ahead and suspend this other thing for kicks, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and bounce that other. This guy's like, no, like, you're going to get extra value, right, if there's already suspended stuff, because you can just bottom deck everything. This card against like something like Nume, super solid, being able to just bottom deck so much stuff. Against Tyrant, this card just literally eats Tyrant for breakfast. Okay, I'm just going to bottom deck your whole field, assuming there's no Shivamon, right, preventing you from playing this, but it's just like, I'm just going to bottom deck your whole field. Because most of the time when playing against this deck, Tyrant isn't worried about option removal. Like, they're like, oh, you have 1 Giga Death in your deck, right? What are the chances you see it? Like, if you see it, you see it. They're going to usually go into the, the Mega Kabuterimon instead of the Shivamon against this deck, because they're just going to see more value of it. And then Giga Death shows up and just eats them for lunch. So, I'm honestly even thinking of just going 2 Giga Death and no Mega Death at all, just because we're bottom decking. It's 4 more memory and I get a bottom deck. Even the security effect, is basically the same, right? Suspend 1 of your opponent's Digimon, then return 1 of your opponent's suspended Digimon. It is to the bottom of the owner's deck. Sorry, I thought it was bounced to hand, but no, this one, even the security effect bottoms decks. So bottom decking is just so much more powerful in like our format now than ever before. Like, returning the hand's always been kind of a, take it or leave it. Now, though, these days, you really don't want to bounce anything to hand hardly at all, especially something like an ace that they could use again against you. And then the last card, I've got the HPD here. Honestly, thinking more and more about cutting this, just because of what we want to do in the deck, I don't feel like I get as much value anymore out of this. If I was running the old starter deck Imperial, where I immediately spit out my level 4s that I could DNA again for 2 more attacks, sure. But with the BT16 Dragon mode, like, basically as a defensive tool to keep my opponent in check. It's not really an offensive piece like the BT or like the starter deck version was. The starter deck is like straight gas. Like, I'm just going to go into another level 5 again. So if I can Evo for free into that starter deck Dragon mode, then that was really good value. But you don't do that here. So honestly, thinking about cutting HPD, but it's still such a strong card. Also, it's a Wormmon deck, and it's Stingmon and Wormmon here. So, come on. Like, it's so fitting. So I want to at least include it in the deck profile here. But that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this new take on the deck. Again, the only stuff you could that I looked at possibly chaining was the Davises here. You could drop them if you want to include 2 of the the Vmons, because these are the best Wormmons, the only Wormmons I would choose. If I was to put in any more rookies, I would go with something like the Searcher BT12 Vmon, or maybe the movie promo Vmon that reduces the Evo cost instead of these Davises. Probably run 2 Giga Death right now, and then the Stingmon, you could argue dropping both of them in favor of 2 more of these guys, because they're really good in the format. Also, it's a Wormmon base, so you're always going to get that 2 Evo cost. So, the value is just there. It's super good value for sure, as well as the blue and a green, making up for whatever you're missing. So, yeah, it's just really solid stuff here. But yeah, that'll do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time.